Hello everyone, it's Annika. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are filming a very exciting video. I am here to start off the New Year's bookish content. We're hitting it hard with a 24-hour reading challenge, aka I'm going to attempt a 24-hour readathon. I'm going to do it the OG way, which is like do it non-stop for as long as I can without sleeping. I have been very nervous to do this video for a long time. I have been avoiding it for, I would say, about a year. It's like half avoiding, half really exciting anticipation to do it, but mostly avoiding it because I am scared I'm going to fail this miserably and then I won't have a video for the week. But you know what? I hope you're here. I am going to start the timer really early tomorrow, hopefully around 6:37. So that way I have a full day to read, get in a bunch of hours, and then when the timer's up the following day, it'll also be early enough to where I can just like sleep through my Saturday if I want to, because I'm going to film this on a Friday. I really put a lot of thought into the way I want to do this. I even planned this around the weekend, so that way if I really do crash out after, it's acceptable to do it on a Saturday. I will see you guys tomorrow when we kick it off with our first book, which I'm currently in the middle of. I'm reading Book Lovers by Emily Henry, but we can talk more about it tomorrow. Guys, I'm quickly interrupting this video because Mojo and I have a very important message. Most of you guys know Mojo. He is Renee's dog, but he is also known as Lola's brother and our only dog child right now. If you're also a dog parent, then you know how hard it can be to find good quality food for your pets. We love our pets like family, so it has been super important for us to find a healthy, good quality dog food for Mojo to eat. And that is where Sundays for Dogs perfectly saved the day for us. Mojo has a history of GI flare-ups, so we needed something that was simple ingredients but also whole foods that were going to be good for him. Sundays has been such a savior for us in the way that they have great quality dog food and their simple ingredients have kept his GI flare-up completely at bay, so he hasn't had an upset tummy, which he usually would get with processed foods like kibble. We love Sundays for Dogs because their dog food is truly healthy for your canine. Sundays is made from entirely human grade ingredients and it's also like an air dried texture, so it's very similar to beef jerky, and Mojo really likes it. It's made up of 90% meat, 10% superfoods, and 0 synthetics or preservatives. If you are a pet parent also looking for some high quality food for your dog, then Sundays is the perfect choice for you. And if you'd like to try it, then you can use this link. It will also be in the description to get you a percentage off of your first order. All that information will be down below. Thank you so much to Sundays for sponsoring this video. I've just super quickly made myself a little avocado toast. I tried to get ready as fast as possible. I'm gonna make a coffee. My go-to, which is like a honey vanilla shaken espresso latte. Switching between that and brown sugar. But right now I think I want honey vanilla because it's just like creamy and sweet. That is a perfect shot of espresso. When it goes in this range, you know you did it right. Okay, so at this point, you can either just add it to your glass, or I'm gonna do it in a shaker and then I'm gonna make the latte really come together. While we are here, before I officially start the timer again, let me catch you up on what we're reading, what's happening, just get you up to speed with everything before we keep going. So I am reading Book Lovers by Emily Henry. This is obviously not a new release. Book Lovers is one of her older releases. I think it's from 2022. It is kind of random that I like picked this up, but it's because I hadn't read for a few months after, you guys know, I went through some stuff. I had specifically left one Emily Henry book unread, and I honestly am so happy I did that. I feel like this is something that maybe in the future like I'll want to do with my all-time favorite authors, like leave a book unread for a rainy day. I picked it up because I needed something that was going to remind me how much I love reading. I don't know how to explain the entire thing to you because I'm like over 50% through, but if I could give you a very Cliff Notes explanation, it's that we're following Nora, who is a literary agent. So she works in publishing, which I think is so much fun. I love that that's her job. I feel like it just fits into a book really well. And so she lives in New York. She's very much a city girl, and a few years back she meets this guy named Charlie during work, and they, I think, are working on a project together or somehow cross paths and have a meeting, and it goes horribly and they just really don't like each other. So fast forward a few years, her and her sister Libby are taking a 1-month trip to a very small town in North Carolina, because that is where one of Libby's favorite books is set out of, or like based on. So it's like traveling to your favorite like book town that your favorite novel is based off of, which I also think is super fun for the story. And they are spending the month there, and she re-encounters Charlie and she gets to know him on a deeper level, and they end up working on some work stuff together because she's like working remotely and so is he. And I think they might work for the same publishing company, I'm not sure, but striking up more of a friendship, and we're just seeing them and their relationship develop. Nora has sort of a checklist for her time in the small town to try and make the most of it. Her and her sister came up with it, and it's just to like maximize their small town bookish experience, which I love. I just love how Emily Henry incorporates like these little details to the plot that add to it and make it more fun and more. Emily Henry just always hits the nail on the head with how to make a romance novel such a fun read, like genuinely fun. And I love their little side quests. I love her and his personality. I feel like you could call them like grumpy-ish characters. They come off to other people as very cold and serious, but I think it's just because they take their work very seriously and are super determined people, and so they can come off as not personable, and I just really enjoy that. Like, I love a character that isn't super charismatic to everyone else but is to each other. Take me out. Like, you can just stop right there. That's so good. I have been having so much fun just like savoring the book and dragging it out. It's just so nice to really savor an Emily Henry book. I think I'm like almost at 60% right now, and the timer is on 22 hours and 47 minutes, so we got a long way to go. I love when authors integrate the name of the title of the book into the writing. I feel like it just scratches something in my brain. I always feel like I found a little like treasure when I find it. I have like 50 pages left in Book Lovers. I left my phone upstairs, but I think the timer is at like 19 hours. I was just reading this page, and I feel like with every paragraph, it was just like, wow, wow, wow. This is why I love Emily Henry so much. She puts so much meaning into her fiction books, and she puts so many like real life lessons in her writing that I feel like a lot of authors do, but hers specifically, like, it just hits different. I think that's why her books feel like home to me. Like, they're so comforting to me in a way that other authors just have not been able to give me. I also think Annabelle Monaghan puts a lot of the same like life lessons, a lot of meaning into her writing, but I just love the way Emily Henry brings it to life. I think with this, it feels very real and not forced at all. Like she says, I used to think it was because people like me don't get those endings, and asking for it, hoping for it, is a way to lose something you've never even had. I don't know, I just love that. After losing mom, those were the endings I found solace in. The ones that said, yes, you have lost something, but maybe someday you'll find something too. And she talks about grief really well in this book too. The metaphors that she uses, and I just think the way she writes it is so true to like the human experience. And I am enjoying this so much. Oh my gosh, I love this. I just finished Book Lovers. Let's see what the timer's at. We are at 17 hours and 38 minutes. I wasn't even thinking about rating while reading this book because I was purely reading it for enjoyment. But if I had to rate it, I would give it 5 stars just because I liked it. Like, I really wouldn't change anything. I'm not going to be too critical or nitpicky. Like, there's certain books that I just read to read them because I want to, because I know I'll love them. And this is one of them, and I just like absolutely loved it. It lived up to my expectation. What I love about this book in comparison to all her others is that it is a like small town romance, and I just feel like this is small town romance done right. Like, I've read a lot of small town romance and it's not my go-to ever. Like, I really don't like reading that in romance books. I don't know why. I think the setting isn't endearing to me really. Maybe it's because I come from a really small town. I think this is done so well. I've read a lot of other small town romance that I just don't like. With this one, I feel like she hit the nail on the head with all of it. Like, the romance had so much depth to it, and I think that's why I love her book so much. Like, Charlie and Nora have so much in common. Like, there is so much chemistry burning off the pages. Like, it is so good. I love how intellectually they stimulate each other in that way. Like, they match on that level. I think to other people it would be considered high strung, but to them they just get each other on that level. Like, they're just very detail oriented, career driven, but still lovely characters. Like, they just are that type of person, and I like that. I feel like I relate to that on a certain level. I love that she finds her match in Charlie, and we learn about all the different layers they have as characters and why they are that way or why they come across that way. And then just like following them throughout their time in this small town was really sweet, and I really liked it. I loved how a lot of it took place in a bookstore. Like, that's just amazing. I think of my local bookstore and how cute it is. I was like imagining it in there, and it's like my favorite place. It's one of my favorite places. And also the small town itself sounded really cute. It wasn't too like honky tonk for lack of a better term. Like, I just feel like some other books take place in like a small town that I would genuinely never want to visit. I'm not gonna say who because I don't want to like bash the author's books, and a lot of people really like them, but I just like genuinely would never stop there and want to spend time there. So they're very bookish characters. They are kind of brooding, both of them in their own ways, and I love like the family aspects of it too. There's a lot of other side characters. This is another thing I think Emily Henry does so well, is she develops her side characters and their stories without dragging it out to where you're bored. I don't know, they fit into the story very seamlessly. Nothing felt forced. It all felt very authentic. Sometimes I feel like plots are forced a little bit, or subplots are forced and just thrown in because the characters need to have family issues or mental health issues, but like this just feels very authentic. So now I've read all of her books up to this point, and I will say this is the most like a Hallmark movie type of book, and it kind of says it in the reader's guide at the end. Like, it's very Hallmark-esque with the town and stuff, but not with like the corniness or the cheesiness. Like, I think this is still very true to a relatable romance. You know what I just realized? This is my first book of the year, and it's 5 stars. Anyways, now we need to pick our next book. I don't know what to read. I don't know what genre I'm feeling, so I think we should go look at the bookshelves. It's currently 5:20, so it's gonna get dark soon. It's been pretty gloomy all day. I feel like the sun barely came out and it's gonna set already. I'm like so tempted to scroll on my phone, but I'm not gonna do that because I have done it a few times today, but I'm really trying to limit it. So technically I've been reading for like 6 hours or 5 hours, and I was at 50% when I started. So I guess I feel like I'm a very slow reader. You know what? We're not going to calculate that because it's just going to be embarrassing for me. Let's pick a book. Also, I know I did start the timer earlier, but I had some people come for like maintenance stuff on the house, so I had to pause the timer for those things. This is what we're working with. I also have a bunch of books spread out on the couch because I took a thumbnail. I probably am going to pick from those actually. I kind of already know what I want to do. First of all, can we just talk about how I never continued the Magnolia Park series? I read the last one. I remember I was reading it when I did my reset for 2023, so that was 2 years ago. I read Magnolia Parks 2 years ago, and I just never continued the series. I have Daisy Hates right here. Ugh, no, I don't want to read this right now. It needs a certain mood. It needs a certain vibe. I'm thinking fantasy. but I don't want to start a new series, and pretty much all fantasy is in a series. This is another one with potential. Powerful. I feel like I might save this for like the end of the video. If we don't have time for a whole other book, I'll probably do a novella. Since I just read a romance, I probably won't jump into it, but this is by Mari McFarlane and it's called Between Us. Oh, Emily Henry has a quote on the front page. So I'm kind of going between The Ballad of Never After or The Reappearance of Rachel Price. I feel like both of these are like fairly easy reads. And I know this one's gonna go into like later hours of the night probably, so I want something that's not gonna take too much brain power, so I'm not gonna start like a crazy fantasy or anything. Okay, I wonder if I should just read The Ballad of Never After. Sometimes I get bored in this world. Sometimes the Caraval world, aka like Once Upon a Broken Heart, it's not my favorite world to live in. It just kind of gets like, I think because this is like the 5th book in that world that I'll be reading, like it's just a little redundant at this point. Okay, I feel like I'm just gonna do this. This is probably my best bet right now. I'm gonna start this one. I'll update you when I get into it so I can tell you what it's about. Okay guys, I am on page 117. You can't see that. Chapter 15. It is, let me give you the time. It's 9 p.m. and I actually just hit the 13-hour and 59-minute mark. So we're getting to the 13s now, which means I've been reading for like 9 to 10 hours at this point. Not consecutively. I have taken breaks to like make a snack, feed the cats. Sometimes I'll get distracted on my phone, but not for too long, and if I do, then I'll like pause the timer. Did I already tell you the time? It's 9:45. I do feel, if you couldn't tell, like I'm getting a little bit tired. I'm not getting sleepy, I'm just getting tired because it is gonna be 10 p.m. and I've been going all day. But I will say, I think this was the perfect pick for this challenge. Her books are so good to just fly through. They're such a breeze to read because it's YA fantasy. It has all the elements and the magic of fantasy without having the complications of adult fantasy and like the intricacies that make it really hard to understand, especially when you're half asleep. So I am happy I chose this. I think this is by far going way better than any other book I've read by her. This is the second in the like spin-off trilogy from Caraval. This is the second book in the spin-off trilogy for the Once Upon a Broken Heart books, and I really liked the first one. I don't remember being obsessed with it at all. I think I started to get really into it when the book was ending, and then obviously I knew that there was books that come after it, so I felt like it was a setup for the second one. But I did like it, and I liked it a lot more than the Caraval series, but I wasn't obsessed, which is why I was a little hesitant and wary to pick this up, because I was like, if it starts to slow down like the last ones have for me, I just don't know if I'm gonna like be able to read it throughout the night. But I can honestly say this is going way better than I expected. I'm over 100 pages in and I haven't gotten bored at all. It's so easy to keep up with, and also there's so many, like, there's obviously a huge quest that the character's going on, but there's little side quests in between, and it keeps it really fast paced like the entire time because things are constantly happening. Like, I feel like there hasn't been filler scenes, which has been really nice. Let me give you a tiny premise of the book. If you consider the spoilers because it's a second book in a trilogy, maybe skip this. I'm not going to do any like straight up spoilers. So we are reading about Evangeline. She is our main character, and she's basically on this quest in this book to break a massive curse that has been set on someone really important in her life, and she's also under curses herself. So the whole thing is very complicated, but basically people are gonna die if she doesn't fix this, and things could be catastrophic for the entire kingdom if she isn't able to get this under control, and it is up to her because she's like a chosen person in this trilogy, and only she can fix it because of that. She is kind of teamed up with Jax, who we meet in the original Caraval series, and he carries over into this one, which I really like, and he becomes a main character in this, and he is the King of Hearts, which is also a fate, and fates in this book are basically like immortal beings and are known as extremely untrustworthy, like the worst people that you can make a deal with. So Evangeline gets wrapped up into this thing with Jax. I do think there is some sort of romance that's going to happen at some point. That's not necessarily a spoiler. I just knew that about the series going into it, and I believe he's part of it. I'm not sure, but I am rooting for them. Even if they don't end up together, I'm rooting for them because she's so human, she's so mortal, she's so damsel in distress right now, and he's so like villain, brooding. But maybe he has a soft spot for her, but honestly I can't tell. That is pretty much where we are at with this book. I am super excited to keep reading it. I'm genuinely enjoying it. I feel like it's a very bingeable book, which is perfect for this. Where this goes, is this considered like enemies to lovers? I guess so, because they like hate each other. Well, she like hates him, but she also like kind of doesn't. Maybe enemies to lovers. But it's fun because in this world there's like so many magical things involved. Like you have curses, you have fates, you have vampires. You just have like so many fun magical elements. She kind of mixes it in with like a very classical fairy tale at the beginning, like a girl meets a prince type of thing, and then it turns into like a very cursed version of a girl meets a prince. Guys, you know what this reminds me of? In middle school, when AR points were a thing, like accelerated reading points. I don't know if this is an everywhere thing. I think this is an American thing in the way I'm explaining it. When we would read for AR points, I would do this thing where like before they were due, I always wanted to get ahead of everyone else, even though I never won. And I would like pull literally all-nighters reading because I needed to test on the books the next day. Like I needed to test on as many books as possible. Off my makeup to refresh me and wake me up, and also so I can just get really comfy, cozy in some blankets and stuff. I'm 200 pages through the book. We're not even to like the ungodly hours of the night yet. Like really 12:30 is not that bad. It's just the fact that I'm using my brain and my eyes. I can definitely keep going. There's 11 hours and 40 minutes left, so the update is that I'm feeling good. I'm getting tired. Okay guys, I'm going to switch to Kindle because I'm getting sleepy, and whenever you're tired and you want to read or you want to get comfy, it's always best to go with the Kindle. Okay, this is downloading. I am going to go either bake cookies or eat like Nutella toast or something. It's 2:45. 9 hours and 58 minutes left. I fell asleep for like half an hour on the couch. I'm gonna try and read for like 2 more hours and then probably sleep a little. But I got a little power nap in. Also, I'm really sad because I like reset the timer and now it's just like 9 hours, like instead of having the full 24-hour bubble. But I promise this is the same amount of time. I'm on page 240.
Okay, I figured I should give an update because I am 60% through the book. I don't know how coherent this is gonna be because it's 3 a.m. The stakes are much higher now. I expect it to really pick up from this point on because we are over halfway through the book. So basically, Evangeline has gotten herself into more of a mess and she's working with multiple fates at this point, which is super dangerous. These fates, you know, have like no humanity to them, but they act like they care about her. But then for half the book, you're like second guessing it because you're like, wait, no, they actually can't care because they have no humanity. Anyways, we're at the point where stakes are high in terms of the curse. It's like do or die. Right now, they're in like this ballroom scene. It's very regal. I love it. I love that they have these scenes within it because, like I said, it's very fairy tale-esque. So there's a lot of like big ballroom scenes and big balls and beautiful gowns and all this stuff. So I feel like it's also very regal in that way, which is really fun to read about. Evangeline is like fighting for her life at this point. There's betrayal from people she thought were friends and stuff. So it's very, I don't know, it's very dramatic. And it seems like everyone in the kingdom or whatever, the world, like knows about her because she was like this famous princess that was involved in some very royal drama. Everywhere she goes, people know her as that. So people like get in the way and like try and help her, but I think everyone like is manipulating her for their own reasons, so it's just hard to know who to trust. And I love how Stephanie Garber writes that because it just makes it really interesting. I always find describing fantasy like so hard because I don't know like what to include and what not to, and like I like hearing enough of the summary to where I'm interested, but I know a lot of people consider it spoilers, so. "72% through the book and it's 4:30. I'm gonna try and sleep for like 2 or 3 hours so my body doesn't absolutely hate me tomorrow, but the book is good. The romance is frustrating because he's just like the type of man I love to hate because he's just like lying to her half the time, I think. I don't know. It's good, but like just when I start to love it, he's like, oh, I actually don't like you. And I'm like, oh, I actually hate this. Like, can someone just say how they actually feel? I am going to sleep for like 2 or 3 hours. I'm not going to pause the timer. I will see you at some point when the sun is up. Okay guys, we have an hour and 42 minutes left. This is the final stretch. I'm beyond myself right now. I'm so tired. This challenge was honestly just as hard as I thought it was gonna be. I do have a headache. I'm gonna make a coffee. I slept for like 4 hours, so not bad. I added an hour to the timer when I woke up because I slept a little bit more than I'd like. The timer's gonna end around like 12:45. I feel like technically I did over 24 hours, but I wanted to make it as accurate as possible to like reading time for 24 hours. That's why I was like adding to the timer or like having to reset it at times. I never took away from it, just so you know. I always like, if I needed to, I added to the timer because I like let it run or didn't pause it or something. It's like 11 and I'm on 88% through the book. I have gotten to a part where kind of what the entire story and even what the first book was building to is happening and it's about to unfold. It's like the final battle scene in a fantasy book. It's not war, but it does feel like that. Like it feels like, oh my gosh, like the big thing is about to happen. So that's what's happening. And Evangeline is just, she's discovered a lot about Jax. She's discovered a lot about his past and is realizing that though they're fated to like never be together, she's trying to almost like find a way around it. But it's all a very dangerous situation. It's high stakes. I love it. I love what's going on. As tired as I am, once I start reading this, it's honestly so easy to just keep going. Like, I feel like these next 10% are just gonna fly through. So I'm not worried, and I do think this was a very, very good book to binge, and I'm happy I picked it because I like didn't know what to read. But I am just gonna go sit on the couch. On my how I'm feeling meter, I feel like a 3 out of 10. I'm a solid 3. I am tired. I'm hungry. I need to eat. I just took a bath because I wanted to feel a little bit refreshed, but I'm going to finish this and then probably pick my next one, and then we can wrap it up with ratings and all of that good stuff. Guys, oh my gosh, I genuinely thought I had so much more of the book left and I was gonna record my reaction. I was just casually reading on the couch and then I gasped audibly. I was like, so I guess we just finished the second book. Oh my gosh, I'm so 5 stars immediately. Immediately, yes. Immediately, yes. 5 stars. What a great start to this reading year. I mean, I know they're both like very renowned 5-star reads, but you still never know. I've read renowned 5-star reads that end up being like 3 stars or 2 stars for me, so I'm so happy. I will say I'm a little scared because I've heard the third one is like the lowest rated in the trilogy, which makes me so extremely sad because I'm like, the potential is so there. Like, this is crazy. The buildup literally gave me goosebumps. Like, the tension, the build up, the cliffhanger. 10 out of 10. Thank you, Stephanie Garber, for your time. Thank you for your work. I appreciate it. The romance was good. The tension was good. Talk about slow burn, like slow burn throughout books type of slow burn, but she gives you just enough to like really draw you in, and it's the type of forbidden love that just gets you. I am going to move on to the next book. I literally talked to you like 10 minutes ago, so I think there's like an hour and a half left. I think I'm gonna pick up Between Us by Mari McFarlane. That's the one I was showing you yesterday that I was debating on because I feel like reading a romance again. I want to savor this series, so I'm gonna wait to read the third one, but wow, that lived up to the hype. That was a really good book. I'm gonna go get the next book, and then we have an hour and a half, and I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I can't wait to just sleep. But not yet. Not yet.
There's 5 minutes left on this timer. I can't believe it. We have completed this 24-hour reading challenge. When there was like 10 hours left, that's when it got really hard, and that's when I was like, oh, okay, I see why this is very hard to do. I literally got 20 pages into Between Us. I am on chapter 3. I honestly cannot believe I made it to this point. I'm really proud of myself. Gonna give myself a little pat on the back because you guys know I was like really scared to do this challenge. But if you give me a good book, I reminded myself that I can like easily binge a book in a day if I like am really wrapped up in the story. So I really don't have much to update you on for Between Us. The only thing I'll say is I took this off of a recommendation from someone I watch, and she explained that this author's writing is very different. I know there's a better way to say it, but my brain's only half working right now. I would say it's very wordy. Like it's not to the point. It's not really like easy sentences. It's very detailed and very wordy, and it can almost feel like a mouthful, and that makes it a little bit hard to understand. When she was explaining like why this book is hard to read, she was just saying like you're gonna read the prologue and you're gonna feel like you don't know how to read, and that is exactly how I feel. So this is not something I would pick for like a readathon or to binge. Like, this is definitely a book that's going to take me longer to get through. There's a lot of detail, there's a lot of words on the page, like the font's pretty small, so I'm happy I picked this at the end. I probably will continue it. I feel like from what I'm getting from her writing, the romance is going to be a little bit deeper. I don't really know what this book is about. I think her current boyfriend writes a TV show about her life. Like, he writes a drama because he's a screenwriter, and she finds out that he is basically like exposing all of her secrets and all of her private information through his show in like a fictional way, and he never tells her until it like literally premieres. So I'm just really interested to see how this is like a love story between them, because that seems like pretty good basis for a breakup. But they are all traveling to like this really cool like mansion type of thing for the weekend, them and their friend group, and I think that's where she finds out, because they're doing like a celebratory weekend for some different things that are happening in the friend group. But literally 20 pages in, can't give you much. However, I will say the first 2 books of this, I'm so happy they're 5-star reads. I'm really hung up on The Ballad of Never After. Like, oh, I just love Jax and I love Evangeline, and I'm sad that the 3rd book didn't live up to a lot of people's expectations, but maybe I'll really like it, because sometimes your feelings are different than like public consensus. So I'm hoping that's what happens. If you have read the 3rd one, please let me know what you thought. Like, what was it your favorite? Why didn't you like it as much? Or why did you like it? I don't really have anything else to say. Thank you for joining me for the last 24 hours. I really tried to read as straight through as possible. I'm proud that I finished a book and that I finished like half of another one that I had already been reading. I am literally crashing out at this point. Don't know what I'm gonna do for the rest of the day, but probably not speak to anyone, lay down, sleep after I drink my coffee, because now that I'm drinking it and I made my latte, I have to finish it. I'm happy I finally got around to doing this video. I felt like it was only right that if I was going to continue with book videos on my channel, there had to be a 24-hour readathon in here. I'm delusional and exhausted, so I will see you very soon in my next video. Also, please like and subscribe, because I pulled an all-nighter for you guys. And if you want to see my other content, I am on Instagram, so I'll have that link down below. I also have Goodreads. If you want to follow my Goodreads, I always have it linked down below. I love you guys so much, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye!